Are you worried about how to write your master's application essays? Come take a sneak peek into mine. Welcome to another vlog. My name is Aneta Felix. I'm a journalist and graduate student at the University of California, Berkeley. In this vlog, I'll be sharing with you the essays that earned me a place at the Berkeley Journalism School. In my last vlog, I shared with you the processes of applying for a graduate program with the intention of winning the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship. If you missed that, please check it out. But today, I'll be delving deeper into the essays. If you can't find a word limit for the statement of purpose on your program's website, try and keep it between 2,000 and 2,500 words. Mine was about 2 pages, around the same length. Here's how I opened my statement of purpose. I began my SOP with a story from my childhood. I went further down memory lane to extract stories that really show who I am and what I stand for, as well as the path that I currently am on as a journalist and a media professional. So my statement of purpose began this way. A teacher wrote this in my school report around 2006, and I put in quotes, "Intelligent but talkative, facts." As a child, I sometimes felt sad for being told to stop asking too many questions, but years later, I realized that what some saw as a but was actually a plus, an inborn talent for communication and networking, which made me a great fit for a career in journalism. So in my first paragraph, I told stories of my childhood, how I started as a journalist from such a young age up until before I got into university. In my second paragraph, I addressed a concern many people usually have when it comes to writing an SOP. Now, for people who studied a different course in their undergraduate and are doing a different career and now intend to further their studies in a different field, this question about how do you tie in your experience and your different lives, so to speak, into your statement of purpose is very crucial. Now, for me, I never studied journalism for my undergraduate at the University of Benin. Instead, I studied international studies and diplomacy. So here's how I showed that thread throughout my career. And my statement of purpose reads, I decided I'll be a thoroughbred journalist with expert knowledge of international relations and global politics. That inspired me to pursue an undergraduate degree program in international studies and diplomacy. My academic background proved very useful when I was promoted to the role of an anchor on a primetime breakfast show that broadcast to an audience of 45 million across Africa. I engaged presidential candidates on live debates. I interviewed lawmakers, rubbed minds with professors across several fields on a daily 2-hour current affairs program. So I went on and on talking about my undergraduate degree, and even though it seems different from my current career at face value, how it actually is relevant to what I'm doing. So even if the connection is not apparent, when you're writing a statement of purpose, try and make the connection. And you can do this through a reflection, like deeply reflect and see how do they connect. Now, even if they don't connect, try and see what skills have you learned in this program. Is it a particular course? What is the connection? Make a connection. Or maybe it's a professor that taught you while you were in your undergrad and conversations sparked your interest in this new field. You just have to make a connection. Here's another important point I need to mention. When you're putting in an application for anything, not just school, and you believe you deserve a place, you have to let them know that you tick all their boxes. So what I usually do is I print out or I draw it up on my tab on my browser, the application requirements and the eligibility. And as I write my essays, I begin to draw parallels between what they want and who I am, between what they want and what I bring, between what they want and my values, between what they want and my experiences. So if, for instance, they say they need academically sound people, you have to prove that you're academically sound. You have to prove that you graduated in the top 10% of your class. You have to prove that you were a good student. If they say they want someone who has demonstrated leadership potential, you have to dig into your life and bring out examples of when you demonstrated leadership. Maybe you led a group of people, you championed a cause, you led an initiative. If they say they want people who are creative, you have to tell them stories from your life when you exhibited creativity. Meaning that when you're done writing your essays, you need to go back to their eligibility requirement and begin to see, do you tick all their boxes? Very important. Secondly, you have to use statistics to drive your point, and I will explain that in this third paragraph. So in the third paragraph of my statement of purpose, I mentioned that, in September 2021, I organized a seminar on reporting sexual and gender-based violence for the 9 female reporters and interns at Plus TV Africa. And then I went on to say that in July 2021, I was a keynote speaker at the Aspiring Leaders Program, a media competency and capacity building event organized by Emerging Africa for a group of 20 entry to mid-level officers. And then last June, Bowen University invited me to host a webinar for 50 final year students at the Department of Communication Arts. So you notice that I use statistics to quantify my impact. Now, I don't want you to be tempted to exaggerate your impact and to lie, and maybe I trained 9 people and I say I trained 90 just to make it seem like I trained a lot. No, don't do that. One impact is impact enough. If you've been able to encourage, motivate, nurture, train, guide, direct someone, and they were able to move from point A to point B, they accomplished something, they achieved the result, that's impact enough. But quantify it anyway, but don't be tempted to exaggerate or lie. Always be honest about your statistics. And next to my 4th paragraph. So my 4th paragraph is my favorite paragraph in the whole of my statement of purpose, because by God, I bragged. What this means is I basically put on the table, right in their faces, who I am, what I stand for, and the values that I bring. One of the things I've heard and read from admission officers is that people usually lower themselves, people usually humble themselves, and they want to be modest. Remember, you're writing to a group of strangers, people who don't know who you are, who know nothing about the past 20, 30 years of your life, all you've accomplished, your innovative ideas, your creative spirit. They know nothing about that. So you have to bring them up to speed. You have to brag. You have no option but to brag and let them know that this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is the value that I'm bringing. And here's how I wrote my 4th paragraph. Some of what I'm bringing to the table at the University of Berkeley's journalism program include my creativity, leadership, personality, reportorial skills, a rich portfolio, a track record of journalism achievement, over 7 years of field experience, a curious mind, and a heart eager to learn. I itemized 8 stuff. You just have to. I had to let them know that, guys, look, I am not coming empty. I'm a full cup. I just want to pour into a bigger bowl. You just have to brag about yourself, and by doing so, you make them root for you. You make them say, wow, this person is such a go-getter, this person is such an achiever, and I want to help them achieve more. Also, you have to show your interest in their programs and that you have done your research about the school you're applying to, right? You have to name drop lecturers whose work interests and inspire you. And in my case, I literally went online to search all the lecturers in my program, and I looked for the ones that have done work that really called out to me, research work that interests me, documentaries that have won awards, and I literally named them. For example, I am looking forward to working with so-and-so lecturer. Her life embodies my goals to be a documentary filmmaker, journalist, and educator. I'm also inspired by the work of so-and-so, who has based trios in so-and-so, showing me that I too can conquer that space. So-and-so lecturer gave me my first experience in so-and-so. So-and-so lecturer did this. His work interested me. I'm so fascinated. I want to learn more about this program. You have to let them know that you've done your research. You know what you're talking about. You know what you want. You have to show that you're intentional about their school and your program, and you didn't just write one statement of purpose that you copy and are pasting to 100 schools. You have to show intentionality, research, and interest. Also, I talked about my long and my short-term goals. I said, while I'm in school, here are all the things I want to achieve. Here's what I want to accomplish. Long-term, in 5 years, here's where I see myself. In 10 years, here's what I want to do. And for my last paragraph, I really basically just hyped the school, hyped the program, hyped the country with genuine things, right? For example, my school offers a unique opportunity where you don't just study journalism and just get a journalism degree and you go. Instead, the journalism program is divided into different majors. There's documentary filmmaking, there's narrative writing, there's audio, there's short form storytelling. There's like different majors, and not many schools in the US offer that. You just study journalism, that's just one course, and that's that, or that's just one program with different courses. This one you can actually specialize, and I really hyped it up that I love this specialization in the program. You know, I also talked about the school. Generally, the school is ranked number 1 according to Forbes list of American public universities. University of California, Berkeley ranks first. I talked about all the beautiful places in the US I would love to visit and my plans for my thesis film, and also I wrapped it up by talking about the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship and how I hope to be selected as a scholar. But that's not all. The next essay is the personal history statement. The personal history statement really confused me when I was trying to write it, because I was like, in my statement of purpose, I just give you my life history. What other personal history do you guys want? You know, I was really confused as to what to write in that. But just look at it as a part 2 of your statement of purpose, but with an emphasis on your financial circumstances and the need for a scholarship, without which you can't afford the program, right? So that really was what I did. I went ahead and talked more about myself, how I'm such a great candidate, how I'm the best student that you'll ever get, you know. And then I went on to say, you know, despite the importance of education and all the benefits it can bring, I would not be able to afford this program if I do not have financial support. And then I went on to talk about my financial history and all of that. And that really wrapped up my personal history. And also there was an optional essay. I mentioned in my last vlog that because I intended to win the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship, I wrote all the essays possible. Those that were optional, those that were compulsory, I wrote everything. So for my optional essay, I needed to put my best foot forward, and here's what I did. In the course of my trying to apply to schools, you know, from a few years back, I had written to people asking for reference letters, and they did send me reference letters. So I got all the reference letters that everyone had ever written of me, and I basically turned that into news. Maybe it was easy for me because I'm a journalist and, you know, I can see things happen and people say things about people, and then I'm able to write about that. I basically got every reference letter everyone has ever written of me, and I wrote that into indirect speech. For instance, there was a reference letter someone wrote about me saying that my work reflects the virtues of hard work, commitment, drive, ambition, and honesty, and that I combine sharp reporting with strong intuition, and that they believe that I represent journalistic excellence and that I demonstrate it by producing compelling stories. So I switched that up and said, this was for my optional essay. I said, my colleagues and employers agree that the totality of my person reflects the virtues of hard work, commitment, drive, ambition, and honesty. They also acknowledge that I combine sharp reporting skills with a strong intuition. They believe that I represent journalistic excellence and demonstrate it through the compelling stories that I continue to produce. Did you see that? Did you see that? Also, I went ahead to list all the organizations I'd ever worked for in this life. I worked for the BBC World Service, Channel Global Television Network, I worked for Thomson Reuters Foundation, I had done some work that featured on Al Jazeera, I had worked for Connect Her Film Festival, TV360 Nigeria, Plus TV Africa, the African Center for International Law and Accountability, the Foundation of African Cultural Heritage, Gotel Communications, amongst others. And then I went on to list all the awards I'd ever won in this life. Yes, they're in my CV, but I had to really emphasize that. And I said, my work has also afforded me the honor to receive the following awards and recognitions. Winner, New Narratives Challenge by the British Council, November 2001. Winner, Prevent Epidemics Financial Award by Nigeria Health Watch, January 2021. Winner, COVID-19 Reporting Award, Merck Foundation, Germany, November 2020. I also won the award for Best Film at the Girls Impact Award Film Festival in the US in April 2020. In November 2020, I was nominated for Journalist of the Year by the Future Award Africa. I received an award of excellence at the National Broadcasting Academy in March 2020. In 2019, I won the Fate Foundation SME Journalist of the Year Award. In the same year, I emerged as finalist at the Women in Media Award by APA Group in South Africa. I was awarded a Certificate of Merit. I'm tired reading these things, guys. I just went on and on talking about all my awards, all my nominations, and the impact of the work that I do in the journalism industry. And that's how I wrapped up my optional essay. And then definitely sprinkle MasterCard in all your essays. Let them know that even if they admit you without MasterCard, you're not coming. You're gonna sit in your father's house and be drinking Gary. Just let them know, like, let them see the potential that you have, how academically talented you are, how creative you are, but that you need the financial support. Write your essays this way and put in some bit of creativity, try in your own ideas, switch it up. No two essays should be the same because no two people have the same experiences, right? So just go with the flow, right? So just a bit of a story time, right? I know someone who knew someone who had won a scholarship, and I reached out to the person saying, hey, can you help talk to your friend if they can guide me about how they wrote their essays, if they could share with me or something like that. And they said something like this. They said this in another Nigerian language, and the translation was, can she write for herself? I felt hurt by that statement, but it was all the motivation that I needed. And I said to myself, you do not need to see another person's essays to write yours. But the unique challenge for journalists, really, because I've spoken to journalists about this, we're great at writing stories of other people, the world, events and things. But when it comes to writing about ourselves, we tend to stutter a bit, like literally stutter on the paper, because we're used to talking about someone else. But how I did it for me was writing on the third person. So I was writing about me as though I was writing a story about someone else, and I would mention my name and say Aneta. There was even a particular essay I was writing. I used another name, right? But I was writing about me. It helps me write better because I was able to step out of the situation and writing about me with a third eye, and I'm looking at me, and I'm like, oh, Aneta's achieved all this, she's done this, she's done this, she's done this, this is why she deserves this scholarship, this is why she deserves to be accepted into the program. And that was the trick, that was what helped me write my essays. And then when I was done, I was now able to change it to I, using the word I instead of the fictitious name that I made up. Another tip I always give people who struggle to write essays is, if you know that, you can talk about these, things, your eligibility, how great you are, but you struggle to write, turn on your recorder and just talk about it, right? Talk about, for example, the essay asks you, share your future plans. You can just turn on your recorder and start saying stuff like, in future, I plan to work in the Fortune 500 companies as an investment banker, as a da-da-da-da-da. I intend to establish this philanthropic organization. Say all those things. Then stop it when you're done and begin to transcribe your audio notes. So simple. Now, I won't advise you to use your text-to-speech because I've tried it once, and when I saw the text, I could not recognize, it didn't make sense, because obviously the accents that we use to speak is not the perfect American or British English, so I can understand why there was all those discrepancies, right? So that's why I advise you to actually speak into your voice memo and then transcribe your essays. And with that, I wish you good luck as you write your essays. And if you need further clarification on any of the points I've mentioned, or if you need me to produce more videos on any other topic that's relevant to you, do let me know in the comment section below. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.